I will open our service today with our very own Pat Jobe, pastor of this fellowship. And now we will do our chalice lighting. Please join me in saying the chalice lighting words there in your order of service.
We light this flaming chalice to illuminate the world we seek, in our search for truth, may we be just, in our search for justice, may we be loving, and in loving, may we find peace.
These words are by Teg Bahadur, a Sikh. Why do you go to the forest in search of the divine? God lives in all and abides with you too. As fragrance dwells in a flower or reflection in a mirror, so the divine dwells inside everything. Seek, therefore, in your own heart. And please remain seated while Mike shares his gift of music with us.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, now I'm going to play a trick on you. This is a photograph of Connie that Linda meant to put up here on the table. Okay. How many of you who want to go to Connie's memorial service already know when it's going to be? Does anybody who wants to go not know when it's going to be? Regina, it was in the newsletter.
I skimmed it, I'm sorry.
Of all the people not to read the newsletter.
I did, I just skimmed parts of it.
Oh, you skipped parts. Well, I understand.
That was a nasty trick.
Connie will be remembered July 9th at a 1 p.m. service at Cabin Cook Funeral Home in Mooresville, and there will be food following. So, in memory of a great cook, there will be food. Mike and Eddie have agreed to join me in a song about light. And I draw your attention to this light. This is our lighted chalice. This is our symbol of how we go through the world like Dionysus, looking for the truth. This is our light. Look at these electric lights that the Quakers provide for us. And look at this sunlight coming through these windows. Light is so much a part of the spiritual journey. Are you mugging? Okay. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the world now, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world now, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world now, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, y'all help us. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine now, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Thank you, fellas. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, all right. Nothing like getting upstaged by Eddie Gunn. One of the best at upstaging. Yep. Right, yeah. This is sort of part two of what we talked about last Sunday. The basic value of Unitarian Universalism in a divided world. We talked about John Locke's influence and the value he placed on toleration. Toleration is central to Locke's political philosophy. Consequently, only churches that teach toleration are to be allowed in his society. Locke's view on the difficulty of knowing the one true religion may suggest that religion is not personally important to Locke, but it also may point to the deep uncertainties surrounding religious belief in a time of political and intellectual conflict. In contrast, Locke's view on atheism suggests that he was far from considering religion as unimportant. He took practical considerations into account, such as how the peace of civil society would be affected by religious toleration. We think we live in violent times, but the late 1600s and early 1700s of Locke's life were not only still groaning under the open combat of the Reformation, they also were bloodied by thieves and murderers who operated at a level we can scarcely imagine today. Any family leaving a London home was encouraged to store their furniture and possessions in a warehouse, lest they come home to an empty house. Violence rose and fell like the waves of the sea, and Locke blamed at least some of the violence on the open hatred between the Roman Catholic Church and the Church of England. The dangerous lies of any religion are the lies that set us apart from one another. The beautiful truth of our religion might best be found in the words of the English comic strip character Andy Capp. Some of you remember Andy Capp. How wonderful. So Andy had a little too much to drink, and he was having some difficulty getting home, and he ran into the vicar. And the vicar said, "Andy, I don't know quite how to put this." And Andy said, "Let me do it for you, vicar." He said, "There is so much good in the worst of us and so much bad in the best of us. It's hard to know which of us ought to tell the rest of us how to live." But that is what most religions try to do, right? Muslims are told not to drink, but some do. Catholics are told not to practice contraception. Some do. Baptists are told not to dance or play cards. My maternal grandmother would not read the funny papers on Sunday. Our Unitarian folks do pretty much what they darn well please, but we are encouraged to be respectful of others and do no harm. Most of us, and I certainly include myself on this list, live our lives pretty much as we always have. Identify closely with family and friends, people we have known for a long time. We go through the motions, go through routines, which make sense to us as separate individuals, what Einstein called an optical delusion of consciousness. We are our names, our pictures on our driver's licenses, our stories, our mailing addresses, our cars and houses, and voices on the telephone. We rarely ever think of ourselves as anything other than that separate optical delusion of consciousness. But we are, in fact, children of 13 billion years of evolution. We are the end result of 100,000 years ago evolving into Homo sapiens, 6,000 years ago creating writing, and 200 years ago creating cheap paper so that police officers could write us speeding tickets. We who we are is so much bigger than and ultimately more impactful than the tiny markers we use to define who we are. Wes Crane got a lot more coverage than Einstein when he recorded the Desiderata in 1971, and it played on the radio week after week. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. What he did not say is that your being a part of the universe requires you to define yourself in the widest possible terms, to be part of things larger than yourself. That's where religions tried to come in. They told us we were children of the sky sailor, creations of a separate something that might have an impact on our lives. George Carlin lampooned it this way. He said, you can tell people that they are cared for by an invisible man in the sky, and they will believe it. You can put up a sign that says wet paint, and they have to touch it to make sure. Yet we as Unitarian Universalists offer respect to all world religions, some of which are canonized in the back of our hymnal. As long as those religions offer respect for the inherent worth and dignity of all, as long as those world religions celebrate justice, fairness, equality, care for all. And when they fail that test, we reject them. And when those religions offer lies that seek to dehumanize anybody, we reject them and call them out. It tends to put us in the enviable position of acceptance for all. It also makes us a very small crowd. You've heard this joke before, that we are a religion that accepts all kinds of people, especially people who accept all kinds of people, which makes us a very small crowd. Why? Why are we such a small crowd? It is in part because the idea of separation is so appealing. People love to belong to groups who are against somebody else. When I ask Trump supporters about their planning to vote for him, they say it's because they don't like Biden, and vice versa. We are now plagued with a political system that is all about what we don't like about the other guys. Religion can operate that way too. Among the saddest of these religious ideas is that only people who live in certain compliance with the teachings of Jesus will avoid the hell we don't believe in. Now, I'm not going to dwell on that, except to mention that the idea of hell and eternal damnation can be found in Islam too. So it can be very simple for the most simplistic of these believers. A fanatic Christian can stand on one side of the street and point across at the Muslim on the other side of the street and say how sad it is that he's going to hell. And the Muslim can do the same thing. There is a caveat to that, though. Muslims believe anybody who is wholly committed to God, to the ultimate forces of good in life, is not condemned. I've had Muslims tell me that Jesus was a Muslim, Abraham was a Muslim, Moses was a Muslim. While it is not safe to say that all Unitarian Universalists believe the same things, because we do not, it is safe to say that we don't believe much happens after death that is going to be unpleasant, or a lake of fire stoked by either Christian or Muslim beliefs. Most of us either believe there's going to be a realm of universal forgiveness and light on the other side, or nothing at all. The primary value of religion is community. Most Unitarian Universalists like gathering with people who think like us. We are religiously liberal and willing to help people in need. You know the list that includes for this crowd: dog fences, feeding the poor, walking to aid the victims of human trafficking, writing postcards to encourage people to vote, watching the Tuesday movies together, book club, chalice circles, after service meals, and the general joviality that we share here on Sunday afternoons. Historically, religion has played both the villain and the good guy in the lives of people touched by it. Good religious people have built hospitals and colleges and soup kitchens. Not so good religious people have gone to war and killed people they found to be heretics. The Salem witch trials were awful, but in Europe, they burned hundreds of thousands of women for being witches and tortured and killed Jews for refusing to convert to Christianity. The genius of a good and decent religion is its ability to inspire people to act and think and feel themselves part of something bigger than themselves. We do that. And how nice it is to have a big crowd to say that to you. We do that. We are part of something larger than ourselves. We are a community. We grieve as we remember Connie Lyon, who will be celebrated July 9th at 1 o'clock at the Cabin Cook Memorial Funeral Home. Regina. We celebrate with Susan Cameron at the birth of her grandson, and with Jim Price every time he talks about Lakeland. And thank you so much for bringing Lakeland today. We feel with Claudia Perkinson as she lost her daughter-in-law a few days ago. And isn't it remarkable that they're here this morning to help out with the children's class, even after this very sad death this week? The list goes on and on. Several of you were so kind to me last week when I shared my grief at losing 2 friends and losing contact with my granddaughters as they moved to Guam for the next 2 years. We are so lucky to have 5 of our members working together to create an expanded ministry of pastoral care. We should not throw our shoulders out, patting ourselves on the back, but we can be very pleased with a sort of so far so good. I once saw a cartoon drawing of people coming out of church. They were hoisting those foam rubber fingers that say, "We're number one." And one of the women in the cartoon looked over at one of the men and said, "Maybe we're getting carried away." That's not us. We know what we've got, but we're not obnoxious about it. We're not getting carried away. We will not be buying those foam rubber fingers that declare we're number one. We may feel that way from time to time, but we're not spending money on foam rubber just yet. Now let's talk about it. It's a rowdy crowd, Grace.
It's a rowdy crowd. Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
So this is the part of the service where all of you are invited to offer your thoughts about today's theme and message, and also to ask questions of our speaker. Pat.
And Greg has the microphone.
Anybody want to speak? Somebody so we can all be heard? Yeah. I just like to say you're on the roll, brother. You're just like wine, get better with age.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Good service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enough said.
You want one of those foam rubber fingers?
I'm afraid of which finger.
Anybody else?
You said it all.
You're saying I covered the subject.
You've done a great job, very good job.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, if you get an opportunity when the service is over, give an extra hug to Alan and Claudia. This is really going beyond the call of duty.
And now Mike Alec will share his interpretation of today's message.
Mike's song is going to be called We're Number One.
Yeah.
Not one is the loneliest number? Just bumping my head. It's called a capo.
Clear winds blow down this road, but the path is wearing thin. Twisted branches, they block the sky, and the true light won't come in. True light can't come in. Did they stop you in your tracks, my friend? Did they hang your hopes on a limb? Did they take your part, forsake your heart? Now the true light can't come in. But you know they say there's just one way, but it's a long way out if you're chasing the wind. Leave your fears behind and the tears that blind. Let your true light shine again. May your true light shine again. Years have passed since we were young. Fields were flush in the spring. Whoa, go flow down the hills of gold, and the bells of love would ring. The road, it turns and divides, but it's only you who decides. Let the lies grow cold, may your love unfold. Let your true light shine again. And you know it's true, it's up to you, but it's a long way out if you're looking to run. Leave your fears behind and the tears that lie. Let your true light shine again. May your true light shine again. Let your true light shine again.
You write that, Mark?
Yes.
That was,
In my spare time between doing errands, picking up garbage.
that was just beautiful. Thank you.
No.
Well, this fellowship is important to us all. The contributions we make today allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and to reach out to our community, both nearby and in the larger world. Your giving affirms our commitment to each other and to the community. With grateful hearts, we receive these gifts. May they encourage us to live lives of integrity, compassion, and peace. If you could just take a moment to look inside your bulletin at the announcements. Right after the service today, we welcome all to join us at a local restaurant. Please check with Linda Haydenberg about today's plan.
I'm gonna go to McAllister's.
Okay. McAllister's over here in Cornelius. Okay. Volunteers are encouraged to help with Heart of the Carolinas UU Animal Ministry, FeedNC, and the Sunday Tech Squad. Still needs more volunteers to record their services. See Claudia for the Animal Ministry and Jim for FeedNC and the Tech Squad. Or maybe you today. Gary, right? Greg. Okay, I'm sorry. I knew it started with a G.
Got the G.
I got the G.
Good.
Okay, please note, we will not have services in July, but Pat will continue with stewarding our community and community activities will continue. And please see Tracy right here in the second row. If you can help with handwritten postcards to voters of color identified by the Unitarian Universalists. And now, were there any other announcements I missed? Oh, we have chalice circles coming up. Yes.
There's squash on the front table.
Okay, there's squash in the front table.
And I would really love to find people that want wonderful plums and figs.
Oh, yeah.
You have those coming? Wow.
Oh,
Plums and figs?
plums are already in, figs are almost in.
Okay, wonderful. Any other, Jim?
The next fence build is July 13th.
Okay, the next fence build is July 13th. So please, our closing song today is 168, One More Step. Please stand as you are able and willing.
We will take one more step till there is peace for everyone. Take one more step. We'll say one more word. We will say one more word till every word is heard by everyone. Say one more word, one more prayer. We will say one more prayer till every prayer is shared by everyone. Say one more prayer, one more song. We will sing one more song till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
Most people think that Spirit of Life is the anthem of Unitarian Universalism, but I love that song. I love One More Step. Tim Brown is vetoing that idea. Okay. So good to have Joe Abney back with us. We know the key now is to bring her granddaughters. Our closing words come from Michael Foley. He says, employees hate meetings because they reveal that self-promotion, dissemination, and constantly talking nonsense in a loud, confident voice are more impressive than merely being good at your job. And it is depressing to lack these skills, but even more depressing to discover oneself using them.
We are going to extinguish our chalice now. The words are in your order of service. We
Extinguish the chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of unity, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.
And now we're going to hold hands. If you don't want to hold hands, you can cross like this. Or we're going to make we don't have to make a circle, but hold hands somehow.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Shalom.